Good evening and welcome to EDF Action's Earth Day Climate Conversations. We're so happy to have you with us here this evening, bringing together leaders from across the environmental movement to talk about the need to keep pushing for clean air, clean water, and critical environmental protections. So we're really excited with our lineup this evening. My name is Alex Ross. I am a project manager here at EDF Action for grassroots engagement. And I'll let Jeremy introduce himself. Oh, you're muted.
Thanks, Alex. Hi, I'm Jeremy Pittman. I am Senior Director of Grassroots Engagement with EDF Action. I'm coming to you from Washington, D.C. this evening.
Awesome. So, Jeremy, can you tell us a little bit more about the kind of context of the Earth Day that we find ourselves in?
Well, first, Alex, let me give you a little bit, and our viewers, a little bit of the background on Earth Day for folks who don't know. Tomorrow, April 22nd, we'll be marking the 55th Earth Day. In the late 1960s, there was growing concern about the environment, and two big events in 1969 catalyzed that concern in the United States. There was a big oil spill off the coast of Santa Barbara, California, and then in Cleveland, Ohio, the Cuyahoga River caught on fire due to industrial pollution. These two events together really sparked a great deal of concern, and tied with the growing recognition of our place on the planet, seeing pictures taken from orbit in 1968 really set folks on a path to recognizing the need to speak up and to stand up for our environment. Some folks, folks in Congress, grassroots advocates, set about to create a special day to reflect and mark the need for care for the environment. And they set about to host the first Earth Day in April of 1970. It's estimated that 20 million Americans showed up to take action on that first Earth Day. And their visible demonstration of concern and their subsequent advocacy led to real and lasting change. President Nixon proposed the establishment of the Environmental Protection Agency less than 3 months later, and a number of major laws followed in the next few years, including the Clean Water Act in 1972, the Endangered Species Act in 1973, and the Safe Drinking Water Act in 1974. So again, 20 million people coming out across the country in the United States, joined by millions more around the world. And since then, Earth Day has grown as an annual reminder of our concern for the planet and for the well-being of people on the planet. And so this year, when we look at the environment in which we are operating, are living every day, I think it's a tough time for those of us who are concerned about the environment. We have an administration in Washington, in the White House, that is working to roll back environmental protections, some of these hard-won environmental protections, and we have majorities in Congress that are equally willing to roll back some of these key protections that we have. And so, I think for those of us who are concerned about the environment, this is a great moment to really reflect on what we're seeing, to think about how we can take action, and to consider what it means to be an environmentally conscious citizen in the year 2025.
Exactly. I think it's really important that we reflect, especially now, right, about what successes we've made and the progress that has gotten us to this point. And our first speaker this evening comes from my home state of Arizona, an environmental justice champion that I'm so glad that we're able to highlight this evening. She was elected the first Latina mayor of her city, and has really led the effort on environmental justice across Tucson, Arizona. So here's a message from Tucson Mayor Regina Romero. Thank you, Mayor Romero, for those really inspiring words. I'm really reminded of the commitment, I think, of our local leaders to really lead the effort for climate action. Um, there's so much that we've done at the federal level. There's so many federal investments that have come along, but I think we all know that the money really shows up in the local community. And so we really depend on leaders like Mayor Romero to champion climate policy in every chamber that we have. So I'm also reminded on Earth Day of, I think, Jeremy, like you were saying, the 55-year history that we have before us, and the importance of the sort of generational ties that keep the climate movement going, because it is so much larger than any one of us. And so as a young person myself, as a youth activist, I think it's really important that we continue to platform young folks and give them the space to really talk or speak out on the things that they care about and make a difference. And so the next clip we have for you comes from Young Gifted and Green's Youth Environmental Justice Council. This council is made up of young folks from across the United States, from EJ communities like Memphis and Flint, and they have a message for us.
Alex, before you move to that message, I'll just note that the video from Mayor Romero, the sound didn't come through for us.
Oh no! Hold on. Thank you for letting me know that.
Thanks to everybody who flagged that in the chat as well on YouTube, and so thank you.
Yes, I missed that. My apologies. Should we try to run the clip one more time?
Sure. Let's see if we can get the sound going this time.
Okay, let's see here.
Happy Earth Day, everyone. This is Tucson Mayor Regina Romero, here to share with you how Tucson is leading on the environment. The mayor passed a Million Trees initiative, which we have planted more than 125,000 trees. Thanks to the Inflation Reduction Act, Tucson has the largest electric bus fleet in the entire Southwest, and we lead on water conservation. I also want to urge you to push back on the Trump administration and push on Republicans in both House and Senate. So happy Earth Day, stay engaged, and do something. Every person can do something about saving our environment.
So apologies about that, but that was Tucson Mayor Regina Romero. And so, like I was saying, the next clip comes from the Youth Environmental Justice Council from Young Gifted and Green. And let's hope the audio comes through just fine on this one. But please let us know if we don't.
My name is Janelle Johnson. I am a member of Young Gifted and Green and stay out where Earth Day matters. Earth Day matters. Honestly, I think it deserves better. We sit here and think about how much transit surrounded by trees, ocean, animals, and we don't always realize how much damage is being done until it's too late. I care because I actually like being outside. I like going to the beach, walking in the park, taking my dogs out, just being in nature. And I want future generations to be able to do some without dealing with polluted air or trash everywhere. It's not just about being eco-friendly, it's about not messing up the home we all share. Earth Day is cool because it reminds people to chill on the wakes and think about better choices, even if it's just recycling more or not littering. It's not about being perfect, but doing something is better than doing nothing. And again, I am Janaya Gibson, and that is my reason on why Earth Day is important to me.
Hi, I'm Kendall King with Youth Environmental Justice Group of Memphis. What does Earth Day mean to me this year? Earth Day this year feels like a much needed reminder that while climate headlights can be overwhelming, small actions still matter, especially when they ripple out. It's about reconnecting with nature, sure, but also reflecting on how we live day to day. What we consume, how we move, and how we care for our communities and the planet. This year, it feels like Earth Day is calling for less perfection and more participation. Progress over perilous.
Hello, I am Zachary Lipscomb, and I am from Michigan. To me, Earth Day is a reminder that the fight for climate justice is the fight for racial and economic justice, too. In my community, we're surrounded by natural beauty, but we're also impacted by pollution and environmental neglect. People can support environmental justice by listening to youth voices, supporting local green efforts, and holding leaders accountable. We all deserve clean air, safe water, and a future we can thrive in. No matter our zip code, let's make that future real.
Hi, my name is Kavana Frazier. I'm a youth environmental justice counselor for Young, Green, and Gifted, and I'm going to be sharing to you today what Earth Day means to me. What Earth Day means to me is like spreading awareness of the environment, and not only that, but also going out of a way to pick up litter or something. That's like a way for us to celebrate it. And another thing I would like to answer is what are ways people can keep the youth environment moving strong is by listening and learning. Listening and learning will encourage a person to want to be an advocate to what's going on with their surroundings and as in like their environment and stuff like that. People can also share the word and get involved with communities like us. And another word I would like to say is support. If you have supporters, you will have people that will, want to take the risk and want to help you and also want to help our environment. And by you, I mean the environmental justice communities.
Hi, my name is Lena, and Earth Day is a special day for me because I just love seeing nature and just, happy to be on the earth. So that's why, it's a special day for me. But how I contribute to Earth, like Earth Day, sort of, I water my plants. Some of them are kind of dead for now, but it's okay. Just look at the good ones. They're pretty watered and pretty grown, so I just keep track of them and that's how I, slightly contribute to Earth Day. I love it.
Yeah, doing. My name is Carlton Allen. Earth Day to me is a reminder us to better our community. In Memphis, we can support environmental justice by participating in local cleanups. One special place in our community we can do this is Tom Lee Park, downtown in Memphis. We can understand and appreciate nature by stop littering, reduce pollution, and etc. Thank you.
Alex, I think you're still on mute, but I think we're both going to chime in and say how much we really appreciated those youth voices. It's amazing, this next generation of advocates coming along, ready to take the reins and help us build a better planet.
Absolutely. It's just so great to see more young people getting involved. That's something I heard a lot growing up and when I was in college was, young people don't care enough. And I think we've definitely changed that narrative over time. So Jeremy, I'll kick it over to you to talk a little bit about our next guest.
Well, thanks, Alex. So our next guest comes to us from the Climate Action Campaign, based here in Washington, D.C. Now, I know she is based in Massachusetts. Our friend, the Executive Director of Climate Action Campaign, Margie Alt, has a special message for us. And at the Environmental Defense Fund and EDF Action, we're proud to be founding members of the Climate Action Campaign, along with other environmental and environmental justice organizations. The Climate Action Campaign is a broad-based national coalition working to catalyze support for climate action. And again, we're just really proud of our participation in the Climate Action Campaign. And for those of you out there who are members of the Environmental Defense Fund and EDF Action, know that means you are also a member of the Climate Action Campaign, as we are working together hand in hand to advance climate action here in the United States. Alex, take it away with the next message from our friend Margie Alt.
Hi there, I'm Margie Alt. I'm the director at the Climate Action Campaign. We're a national coalition of groups from all across the country working for one thing: an equitable and sustainable climate for all of our families. I am happy to be celebrating Earth Day. It's one of my favorite days of the year because it's the day that everybody thinks what I think. We need clean air, we need clean water, we need a sustainable planet, we need to get toxics out of our environment, and all of us can live together more healthfully and more sustainably. This is kind of a scary Earth Day, to be honest. There are so many challenges to our climate. There's so many challenges to the progress we've made. There are challenges to environmental justice and our community itself. And the one thing I think about all the time is that there is nobody who wants their family to drink polluted water or breathe polluted air. So somewhere, somehow, we're going to find the way to make sure that we can hold off the fossil fuel polluters and hold off the climate deniers. And the majority of us can get together and get the quality of life we want and we deserve. And so I'm looking forward to celebrating Earth Day. I hope you are too. If I were you, I'd show up in an event in your neighborhood. I'd maybe plant a tree, but I would also put in a call to your member of Congress and tell them you want clean air and clean water and a sustainable planet. And if we all do that, hopefully next Earth Day is even better than this one. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Margie, for that great message. I think we can all agree this Earth Day is definitely a little bit different than previous ones, but I think, there's still so much to fight for. And speaking of that, I think we're thinking about how are we keeping up with all the information coming out of DC, both the legislation and regulations. It seems like a lot to keep up with in the news. And so we're going to break down a little bit more about what's going on right now. And so you may have read in the news that the House and the Senate recently passed their respective budget resolutions. This officially kickstarts the budget reconciliation process. Some folks might remember that that process was used to pass the Inflation Reduction Act. But really the next step is that the bill then gets kicked to committee, and the committees are responsible for kind of finding these cuts that Republicans in the Trump administration have really proposed. And that's going to start pretty soon, actually, once they get back from this in-district break on Monday, April 28th. And once those negotiations start, a lot of the things will start to become solidified, and I think the chance for us to have an impact on what the final bill looks like becomes slimmer and slimmer over time. So we have an action tonight for you to send a message to your reps right now. We'll post the link in the comments, and definitely recommend that you customize your message, talk about the programs and the agencies that you care about and why they're important to you, because I think that helps the message get through a little bit clearer than if you were to just submit the template that we have for you. But Jeremy, anything to add to our action this evening?
Yeah, thanks, Alex. The action that we're throwing into the chat right now is an action to contact your members of Congress, your representative, and your 2 U.S. senators to urge them to protect clean energy tax credits. These are tax credits that were passed as part of the Inflation Reduction Act, and in some cases, the bipartisan infrastructure law, that are fueling our clean energy transition. So as we are moving to a healthier, cleaner energy system and transportation system, that transition costs a lot of money, and we have come together as the taxpayers to say that we want to invest in that transition. We believe that there should be change, and we know that we need to make that change, and that the companies that are going to help us make that change, the energy companies, the transportation companies, they might need some support along the way, and consumers might need some support along the way to replace their old gas stoves and hot water heaters with cleaner electric versions, to upgrade their vehicles to electric vehicles. And so those tax credits are investments. Our tax investments in making those transitions happen are on the line. We know that many members of Congress want to cut those investments. We know that President Trump and many in his administration want to cut those investments. And they want to do all of that so they can fund the tax breaks that they want to give to billionaires and corporations. And so we're urging members of Congress to hold the line, to protect those important investments in our future. And so I urge you to take a minute now to follow the link, click on that link, take the action, send a message to your members of Congress, to your representative and your 2 senators. And then, once you've done that, if you feel inspired to do even more, as our friend Margie Alt just said, give your members of Congress a call. They're at home right now. They're mostly probably hanging out near you, but they'll be back in Washington next week. And even while they're at home, there are folks here in Washington to answer the phone. So if you give them a call to back up your message that you send by email today, that would be doubly impactful, because you'll send the email today and make a call tomorrow on Earth Day. So thanks everyone for taking that action. It's a really important action as we try to really safeguard these investments in our cleaner future.
Thank you, Jeremy. I can put it better myself. Those tax credits are essential to a just transition. So I know we've also, taken a lot of digital actions in my time with EDF Action. But what are some other ways that we can get folks engaged and stay engaged in this process? So I wanted to bring on Michigan EDF Action organizer Tina Catrone. Tina, I would love if you could talk to us a little bit more about kind of what you're hearing on the ground and how folks can get more engaged in person. Oh, and I'll just take it with me.
Sorry about that. Hi, everybody. Happy Earth Day. As Alex said, my name is Tina, and I am the Michigan grassroots organizer for EDF Action. I get asked this question all the time. What can we do? What actions can we take? We hear that on the ground almost daily. And what we keep telling people is show up to your town halls, contact your members of Congress, your senators, get involved with groups like ours. And I always tell people we are a great place for you to take action. And so when folks come to us and they want to do different things, and so we'll get together and we'll go to a town hall or we'll go to some kind of community event where we have an opportunity to ask questions and things. So we try to build those numbers. Every time we go, we try to get everyone in our EDF Action t-shirts and signs and get out there. And we always try to build those groups because I like to tell our volunteers and our members that there's power in numbers. And so whenever we can get a group of us together and we can ask climate-pointed questions at their town halls, we don't always get them answered, but we want to make sure that it is front and center with our elected officials. So we are continuing to do that throughout 2025, and I'm sure it's going to be well beyond. And again, we are putting together events, community events. We have a big Earth Day event that we're helping to organize this coming Saturday. For anyone who's in the Southeast Michigan area, we have our Oakland County Earth Day March rally and vendor fair, and it is a wonderful opportunity to come and have many opportunities to take action while you're at the event. I'm sure that there's going to be many things throughout the week where folks can get involved, and we just urge you to do that at any opportunity. So that's it. That's the advice that we have from the ground here in Michigan.
Tina, hi, this is Jeremy. I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit more about the congressional town hall meetings that have been happening in the state. I know that Congresswoman Dingell has had a few recently, Congresswoman Scholten has had some, and I think others as well in Michigan. So, have you been to any of those? Have any of our volunteers been to those? And what are the reports that you're getting back from those town hall meetings?
Yeah, actually, I've been getting a lot of feedback. A lot of our volunteers have been going to the town halls. We've had several. I would say it's probably 8 or 9 in the last 2 months alone. So we do send our volunteers out to those events. A lot of what the feedback that we're getting is that people are frustrated. They want to see their legislators doing more to push back on this administration, and they want to have an opportunity to do something because so many of us are feeling so helpless right now, just watching the news feeds go every single day. And we're trying to keep up with all of that. And by showing up to these town halls and asking our questions, I think is a really important step in that direction. Many of our elected officials have said at these town halls, because, again, the question comes up time and time again, what do we do? What do we do? And they have the same answer. Keep calling us. Tell us what's going on in your community, in your street, and in your neighborhood. Tell us how people are being impacted by the rollbacks, or if there's, job losses, things like that. They want to know about all of it. And so they're encouraging people to call their office, let them know what's going on. When there's a vote coming up, we like to encourage people to make those calls into the congressional offices and the Senate offices as well. One of the things that I will say is that our climate questions are not being asked at the town halls very often. Like, I don't think one has been asked on our behalf. So I think that increases the importance of showing up in larger numbers to these town halls and asking those pointed questions about how we're going to protect clean energy, protect our climate and our environment, and to try to prevent some of these rollbacks that we're seeing through this new administration.
Thank you, Tina. That's awesome. One more plug, a reminder to join Tina and the EDF Action team at the Oakland County Earth Day Rally and March happening this week. And you can find all of our events and future events with EDF Action on our Mobilize site. So be sure to check that out. And then to help us wrap up our program this evening, we have a message from EDF Action President David Kiva. And he's sad that he couldn't be with us here this evening, but left a message. So I will go ahead and play that now.
Hey, it's David Kiva, president of EDF Action. You know what makes me so optimistic? It's you. We've built such a strong community of our members here at EDF Action. The work you've done and the work that I know you will do has been absolutely transformative. We are bringing clean energy, clean air, clean water, and addressing the climate crisis every single day with the policies that you've helped us to pass and advocate for, and the climate champions who you've helped to elect. I know that together, we're going to stand up to Donald Trump and his pro-polluter agenda. The policies that Donald Trump is supporting, the changes that he wants to make, they won't just lead to dirtier air, dirtier water, or make our communities more vulnerable to the threat of extreme weather, which is exacerbated by the climate crisis. They'll also lead to fewer jobs and higher energy bills. No one voted for that, and we don't have to take it. Together, if we show up, if we make calls, if we send emails, if we knock on doors, and if we show up at rallies and demand better and share with our friends and neighbors the reality of what the changes that Donald Trump is asking for will bring, we will win. And I know we'll do it together. So thank you so, so much for everything that all of you do. And I'm excited to hear what some of our other guests and panelists have to say on the eve of Earth Day. Take care.
Thank you, David. And thank you all so much for joining us this evening and taking action. We really all hope that you celebrate Earth Day in your own way, in your community. Show up to a local pickup, a trash pickup, a rally, a march, and make sure you're celebrating with your community. I guess before we head out, Jeremy and Tina, any final words for our audience this evening?
Yeah, thanks, Alex. I just want to say thank you to everyone who's joined us this evening and to everybody who has joined us as a member of EDF Action and the Environmental Defense Fund family. We really appreciate your efforts, and we know that everything you do on the ground in your communities is making a difference. As David said, together we can fight back against these attempts to roll back our progress. We don't have to stand for it. And if we stand together, we can make a difference. So thank you for taking action tonight. Thank you for the actions that you will take over the coming days, weeks, and months. There is much more to be done, and I look forward to doing it together. And I know there are questions in the chat that have been coming across on YouTube about whether we can, find a group or start a group in Connecticut. What happens if your member of Congress doesn't answer their phone? And some other questions. And I'll just say, keep at it. We'll follow up with you directly in Connecticut. Thanks, Deb. And everyone else, keep at it. Keep trying to find your member of Congress. If they're hiding from you, if they're not answering the phone, go find them at their office. They have local offices. So go knock on the door, make an appointment. You're, as a constituent, you deserve to be heard, and it's their job to hear you. So let's keep at it, keep knocking on their door, and make sure that they understand that climate and the environment is a concern to you. And happy Earth Day.
And happy Earth Day. And don't forget, they work for you, not the other way around. Keep moving forward, everybody. Happy Earth Day.
Awesome. Thank you all so much, and have a wonderful evening.